The gender critical / ultra
Yes, that's
fault
right.
lines.
Yeah, that's
So
right. Dun, dun.
I say the following again. This is J.K. Rowling. I say the following again because while I understand people's strong views on the matter, some of the language policing is getting a bit wearing. I've said multiple times, I do not believe that a person can be born in the wrong body, and I don't believe in gendered brains or souls. I believe the ideology that preaches such ideas is dangerous. However, there are people in this world who want to present as the opposite sex for many diverse reasons, some of which I'm sympathetic to, others far less so, all of whom can call themselves trans, in quotes. I use the word trans in full awareness that this umbrella term covers multiple groups who have nothing else in common with each other, such as straight men who enjoy cross-dressing for erotic purposes and young lesbians who tragically feel they'd be happier without their breasts. When I talk about sex-based rights, I use the word trans to denote people who wish to be seen or treated as the opposite sex. No more or less. Telling me ad nauseum that there's no such thing as a trans person isn't overly helpful because you're trying to pull me into a different argument on which I've already made my position clear.
Yeah.
So Julia Long responded, I say the following again because while I understand people's misguided notions, some of the gaslighting bullshit is getting a bit wearing. There's no such thing as trans, and men who pretend to be women are entitled misogynists, every last one of them.
Yeah, thanks for Dr. Julia Long for holding the line. I mean, she's beside the point. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, J.K. Rowling is winding it back, right? Like she opened the door, which is nice. She got all this media attention, and now she's wearing. Well, she has the luxury of just not paying attention. She can just do what she wants, basically. I'm thinking that it would be nicer if she showed some solidarity with, the wives and the children of some of these men who say they're trans, so look at this, my husband of 20 years, he decides he's a woman. He's always been a woman, even though he's made all these children with me. And he's going around saying trans, and everybody in our social group and everybody in my church community and everybody they're all saying he's trans, and that's gaslighting the woman, gaslighting the children. And here we go. Let's side with the guy who says he's trans, because you know what? Let's just be nice to him, even though, I might not know the details of what he's done to his wife and children at home, because this is a paraphilia and they cluster. Okay. He's not just some innocent cross-dresser who's, yay, look at me skipping through the daisies. Finally, I get to dress. He's not just putting on a dress. That's not just what's happening. He is changing reality for the people in his life. And sometimes there's a woman whose life is ruined because some of us are carelessly going, oh, don't police my language, right? Don't, I can call him trans if I want to. He's harmless. He's a nice one. Look at him. He knows he's a man. He knows he's a man, but he just wants to be called trans. No, I'm not going to do it. I don't appreciate that from J.K. Rowling. She's done a lot of great things for church. Really, thank you so much. But this is just her this is just her trying to control the opposition, in my opinion. I don't appreciate it. I'm with Dr. Julia.
Well, I think we'll just stick with the people, the guys that come out later on. So they get married, they have kids, and all of a sudden, then they spring this on their wife and their family. If you decide that you're going to go all in with this, whatever you want to call it, paraphilia, fetish, inclination, desire, fantasy, that doesn't say very good things about you. It's not like you couldn't have an outlet for these desires that wouldn't require turning everybody's life upside down in your family.
Mm.
and turning your wife into a lesbian,
Right.
and has
You
to
know,
figure out how she's going to be attractive and not repulsed at
that's right. If
whatever's
the
coming
husband
out
is
of the
trans,
bathroom. The betrayal, like okay, if you've known this for a long time, and I
mhm,
think there's a thing about the manipulation, like you wait, you get somebody and they're married to you and then kids, and all of a sudden you pull this out.
right,
And if they don't go along with it because if they're against you, quote unquote, living your truth,
right.
then yeah,
No, look, how does it apply
uh,
in law?
challenge.
How could her, oh, don't language police, I find it wearing. How could that? I remember that there was a case in Canada where a couple divorced. The man decided he was a woman, and they went to court because he wanted the kids to call him mom, and the court ruled that, the wife would have to force the kids to call him mom. So, I mean, where does her line apply in
Yeah.
law? Because as far as I can see, women are still being penalized because some men want to be called trans. So I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a legal brain. I have no idea. I'm not super logical.
Mhm.
If I follow that kind of, well, this is my thing and this is my kind of truth, where does it come down in the law? Do you know
Yeah.
exactly?
Some things are black and white. Some things are clear. Desires
Mm,
affect other people. People want to pigeonhole. It's like, well, there's this part and there's this part and there's this part. Like they're not interconnected,
mm,
you know?
that's right.
So, like, the language isn't the glue that hangs this whole thing together.
Mm,
And Jennifer Billick, of course, is she's an ultra on this. And Jennifer Billick, for our listeners who don't know, she's been following the money on this and looking at how it's trying to follow the bigger picture
right.
about the role transhumanism is going to play in the next industrial revolution if we make it that far.
She's
Um,
been an amazing journalist, right?
yeah,
She's really
um,
opened everything up to
yeah.
people.
So she responded that the concept of trans, in quotes, is not a legitimate category of personhood. It currently represents an expression of totalitarian control. The illusion encapsulated in the term transition concerning sex, along with the enforced language that sustains this falsehood, poses significant risks. What began as a dangerous manipulation by a few men attempting to invade women's spaces has become industrialized, akin to cult indoctrination, and enforced by state power. And
Yeah.
she's right.
She's right. She has found, for people who don't know, through her journalism, she's traced all of the funding for all of these, organizations and all of the things that have popped up. She's traced the funding. For example, at your university, there might be a chair of trans studies now. She's traced that to a few
Mhm.
mega, billionaire tech bro kind
Mhm.
of things. I don't know. That's not true. You have
Well,
to
and
read
also
her.
because usually how these rights things goes is that you have a group starts making noise about, hey, we're something they're being a right they want to claim is being infringed upon, or they're being denied something based on a reason they find unjust, and then you have a process that could be back and forth, and then there's some sort of resolution, or maybe it calms down and comes back again. This was not that. This was very much a palace type of inside thing when it comes to law and policy,
Yes, totally. They
you know. And
they
she
knew they
also and some others have traced that. So back to like the early 90s or mid 90s. Just happened one day, like, oh, well, we have to figure out a way for men to change their legal sex. Like, why?
no,
You know,
no, there were even
there's
something
no
at the UN.
groundswell for this. It wasn't like it was on somebody's political platform or something.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
I get that it's not easy, but when it comes to what you post, when it comes to your public posts, then I think I'm on the ultra side.
Yeah,
That we need to be careful with the language because it really is the gateway here. Yeah, because again, they have to. This all rests on separating sex from gender, separating female from woman and male from man, and that is a language. That is a language game. That
right.
is. You can
Yeah,
only
well,
do that conceptually, ideologically.
and people are
Yeah.
separating it. They're also conflating it. Like, what does
Mhm.
gender mean? Like, are there two? People say there's two genders. I don't know. I always think of gender either as a grammatical term, right? Like, oh, English doesn't have any genders. I think Dutch has a neutral gender, or I think of gender as a role, that I have to play based on my sex, right? Like, oh, I'm born a female, so that means that I'm expected to perform femininity in all of these ways. So to me, gender is a role. I don't know when or why people are conflating gender with sex, but I know that works to the genderists' purpose. Like that, they like that. And then you get
Mhm.
these men pretending to be women, and they say, "Well, I'm a biological female." They say that, some of them, because I'm
Mhm.
taking estrogen, which is biological. I am a carbon-based life form, so I'm technically biological and
Yeah.
female because I get to take whatever I want. So there have been. I think it was Tara McKinnon. What does he call himself? Anyways, the bike rider, the Canadian bike rider.
Oh, yeah.
He was calling himself a biological female because he takes estrogen and he's a carbon-based life form. So there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, so and again this idea that how crazy is this? Like no, we're not a hormone level.
Right.
We're
We're
not.
not. No.
We're also not you cut your dick off, still not a woman. I mean, it's just the
No.
craziest shit. Craziest.
Yeah,
I don't know, people
totally.
don't want to deal with it. Oh, be nice. It doesn't matter. Be nice, be nice, be nice, be nice. I'm like, you be nice. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Be nice to women and girls. How about try that?